mentions after that, James. Meanwhile, a lot of debate about Christian Pulisic and his future, obviously stalling somewhat at Chelsea, not getting the game time that he wants. Rumours suggest that maybe Newcastle could be his destination in January when the transfer window reopens.
Yeah, that's true. That Newcastle are interested in him. They were interested in him in the summer. Again, it's sort of similar situation really, in that Pulisic's agent, I think, is actively trying to find him another club now. I think there's a recognition that his career at Chelsea isn't necessarily over. I don't think Graham Potter sort of said, you know, you're never going to play for me, but he's clearly not going to be a mainstay of that team moving forward. And I think he probably would have gone in the summer had the World Cup not been so close, and he maybe thought, look, if I don't get game time every single week, it doesn't matter as long as I'm ticking over ahead of a World Cup, because obviously he was always going to play for the USMNT anyway. But I think he's reached a point now, obviously, after this tournament, thinking about his club career again, that he'll want to move on. He's open, my understanding is, to moving to another club in England. I think Manchester United and possibly Arsenal have been approached about maybe taking him on loan. I think Newcastle are talking about maybe looking at a permanent deal. I think Chelsea would probably prefer that, to get him off the books altogether, and maybe the player would like that, to just sort of, you know, have a clean break and really start and go again. But I think the key thing for him is just to start playing football again. He needs to play regularly. He hasn't done that, and even when he's got games at Chelsea, he's been played in a variety of positions under Thomas Tuchel. He was shunted out as a wing back, he was playing as a false 9, he was playing as a 10, he was playing in all these different positions that, you know, I think he's a rhythm player, isn't he? I think he needs that consistency, and he just hasn't had it.
Listen, I totally understand Christian Pulisic wanted to move. I don't necessarily understand the need for Newcastle, though I've kind of learned not to question Eddie Howe and who he brings in and how he makes those players a part of his system. But as you look at Newcastle in those positions, you've got Almiron, who's having the season of his career. You've got Joel Linton, you've got Willock. You also have Isak to come back, who can play anywhere along that front three, and started the season so brilliantly well for Newcastle. So all of a sudden, there's a lot of competition for very few spots. And Christian Pulisic, the concern or the complaint was that he simply wasn't getting enough game time at Chelsea. You come into a Newcastle side that's settled, that's played well all calendar year long, both last season and this. Does he find himself in a similar position? That, if I'm advising Christian Pulisic, that is my kind of concern going into Newcastle United.
Regardless of whether he stays at Chelsea or he goes somewhere else, what I would like to see from Christian Pulisic is fight. Fight. Fight for your position. Fight for your place.
Do you not think we've seen that already?
I don't believe that we have seen that with the consistency that I would want. We see moments. And then just when you think that, oh, here we go, this is it, he's about to take off, there is an injury, or there's poor performance, there's lack of form, and then he kind of disappears for a while. And I just find that at some point, he himself, not anybody else around him, but he himself, has to evaluate his time at Chelsea. And instead of pointing the finger whether Tuchel was playing or not playing, or Graham Potter is playing or not playing, he's got to look at what he has done. And have I become a better player? Have I done enough to warrant a place in this team with consistency? The answer is no. I can tell him that. I'll give him the cheat sheet. It's no. So whether you go somewhere else or you stay at Chelsea, the first thing that he has to do is prove that he's worthy of a position with consistency. Until he does that, we're going to find ourselves in these conversations about Christian Pulisic. Very talented. We think that there's something there. We think that he's going to be able to find that form, and yet it doesn't happen consistently enough.
Newcastle are flying at the moment, Stevie. Does he get into the starting 11?
He's got to go somewhere where he's going to start.
So he doesn't...
If he has to take a little step down somewhere...
Right.
I mean, other players have done it. If Kevin De Bruyne can do it, then Christian Pulisic can do it. But regardless of anything, he has to play on a regular basis. And if he does that, his talent will shine through because he has talent. So he has to go somewhere where he's going to play. And
YouTube, and for more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for premium content and live streaming, subscribe to ESPN+.